Gone for a walk to Sherwood Forest Country Park this morning, and in particular the sort of northeast corner of the country park. If you take the northerly road out of Edwinstowe village, past where the visitor centre used to be, and continue for about half a mile up that road, you can park on the left hand side and access the country park in the few parking spaces that are available. Those parking spaces do tend to fill up quite quickly, but there was only one car there today, so I took the opportunity to pull in, and here I am just about to have a wander around one of my favourite parts of the country park. Well, regular viewers to this channel may well remember that I've showed you this area of Sherwood Forest Country Park on a number of occasions. This is the Gleadthorpe Open, situated in the northeast corner of the Sherwood Forest Country Park. If you drive north out of Edwinstowe village, past where the visitor centre used to be, and continue for about a quarter of a mile, there's a few parking spaces on the left hand side of the road near a gate, and you can access this area quite easily from there. As you'll also know, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, this is one of my favourite spots within the whole of the National Nature Reserve here at Sherwood Forest. I do love it. I love it because it's largely untouched. Apart from some idiot going across it with a tractor a few years ago, no tractor or four-wheeled vehicle has ever really touched it in as long as anybody can ever remember. And apart from the odd bit of scrub which is removed every so many years, it's untouched. It's never been grazed, so consequently it's a unique piece of habitat. Once you get more in towards the centre of the Gleadthorpe Open, you still might think, well, what's so special about this? It's just a load of grass and a bit of heather dotted around in it. But it's the fact that it's untouched, and been untouched and unmanaged for well over 100 years, longer than anybody can remember. This area has remained pretty much in this state. As a consequence, the grass has developed into large clumps, particularly the further you go away from the camera. It's not so well defined at this part of the Gleadthorpe Open. Those clumps of grasses interspersed with small stands of heather make it very unique. There's a good range of spiders here, especially linophyids, and mostly other small species as well. But it's just the fact that it's untouched. Something being untouched and unmanaged in Sherwood is probably the greatest rarity that there is in Sherwood Forest. But this area is equally as important within the whole of the National Nature Reserve than the ancient oaks which make up that National Nature Reserve, and for which this area of Nottinghamshire has been given National Nature Reserve status. The untouched nature and unmanaged nature of the Gleadthorpe Open here could be ruined in one fell swoop just by the introduction of cattle. Any reintroduction of cattle or sheep grazing, God forbid, would then ruin over a century of non-managed Sherwood Forest land. And that would be a huge shame, at least it would be in my opinion. One of my favourite trees is this. That's why I'm leaning on it, stop it from falling down. But in all seriousness, Silver birch in Sherwood Forest, or at least mature silver birch in forest, are becoming rare. Worryingly so. It seems that management think that these are in an endless supply, but they're not. Many are being topped and then rendered useless as a food source for Sherwood's wide range of lepidopterous fauna. In the case of silver birch, it's all moths, but what people tend to forget is that there's a wider range of species that feed on silver birch than they do on oak, and yet it's oak that gets all the kudos and all the importance aimed at it. This tree is equally as important. After all, the whole of the Sherwood Forest area, known locally and nationally really as the Birkelands, is derived from this tree. The Vikings, when they invaded here and settled here, referred to this Sherwood Forest area as the Birchlands. Over the years it's been changed to the Birkelands. So this area, this famous Sherwood Forest, is named after this tree and not the oak. Yet it's the oak that's the one that's protected. Silver birch, though, is home to a rare moth, a day-fly moth, the Welsh clearing. I've not seen it here for years, despite its using a lure to try and attract it. I've seen fresh pupal exuviae, found one last year, and I do know of at least 2 adults being found, but nearly 10 years ago, you turned up here with a lure, you found one within, or attracted one within 5-10 minutes. There's strong evidence that the Welsh clearing has declined here. And as far as I know, there hasn't been one reported to the county recorder for well in excess of 5 years, I think it is now. Either no one's recording them, or people who recorded them and just not sending them into the county recorder, and that's wrong. But from my evidence and the evidence of Dillis and myself over the years, Welsh clearing here is a species on the decline. But once again, nobody's bothered. If it lives on birch, they're not interested. Magnificent trees, birch. And it's amazing that this clump here on Gleadthorpe Oak still remains. And it's not just management that's taken them down and reducing the numbers of mature silver birch at Sherwood. It's nature too. Silver birch isn't a long-lived tree. If it gets to 100 years, it's done well. But the overall tendency is to think that silver birch is useless. It's not good for timber or anything. Try saying that to somebody that lives in Sweden or Norway or Finland. Nearly everything there is built from silver birch. It's a cracking tree. It's not just the Welsh clearing that is found here. This used to be one of the best areas for the hazelpot beetle, Cryptcephalus coralli, just on the right hand side of the track there. However, the dryness of the last sort of 10 years or 10 summers has meant that it's not found along here now, or rarely found it. It's certainly not in the numbers that it was. This year's dry summer may well have knocked numbers back even further, and it may only just be hanging on. But these fence posts, they're also useful. In spring, they warm up a lot and are used by a number of spiders, and one of them is one of Sherwood's rarest spiders, Zora sylvestris, species that we found here, Dillis and I, on a number of occasions. And in spring, you can often find them sunning themselves on gaining the warmth from these posts. Otherwise, it was a matter of just looking in the leaf litter underneath the stands of heather, especially where that heather borders short ground and a pathway. There's a whole range of different species that have been recorded here over the years, and I'll drop a few photos in as we go along. Some include some quite spectacular insects. So overall, this is an important area of Sherwood Forest. So, on this ever increasingly breezy morning, this was the Sherwood Forest Gleadthorpe Open. Terrific area, terrific bit of habitat, nothing else like it, not even on the adjacent Budby South Forest. Some great species here, and I do like to pop in here from time to time. There's not much to find here in winter. I could go looking under moss or whatever, but summer and the spring are the best times to come and have a look. And it looks great from the tops of those trees. I'll chuck a photo in here and you can see, or at least get a better idea of what a unique habitat this is. Certainly in Nottinghamshire, in a lot of the more upland areas or counties of the UK, this might look very run-of-the-mill, but you have to appreciate it on a county level. I just hope that the fence never gets reinstated and we get some of the usual Hebridean sheep or English longhorn cattle chucked in. That would be a disaster, and that certainly would be a case of habitat destruction. It would also be an incredible shame to lose this site.